Hello and welcome to India Business Hour. I'm Shireen Bhan. The top stories that we're tracking for you this evening. The sensex and the Nifty decline for the third straight day, losing 2% this week. The mid-cap index down 6%. All sectoral indices, barring the IT index, end in the red. The Indian rupee weakens against the dollar, hitting another record low. The rupee is now just 3 paise away from the 86 mark against the greenback. Crude oil prices continue to rise, moving closer to $80 a barrel.
The 90-hour start from the top. And then if it proves to be fruitful or productive over, let's say, a period of 2, 3, 4 years, if we find that it works as a proof of concept, then let us talk about, implementing it down the line.
If you want a 90-hour work week, start from the top, says Bajaj Auto's Rajiv. Bajaj adds the number of hours at work don't matter, but the quality of work does. Many entrepreneurs say longer working hours are biased against women after comments from L&T chairman arguing for a 90-hour work week spark an uproar. The Supreme Court orders a stay on show cause notices worth 1.12 lakh crore rupees against online gaming companies. Says no further proceedings should be carried out against the companies till the court has arrived at a ruling. The court will hear the matter next on the 18th of March. The Petroleum Ministry seeks 35,000 crore rupees from Finance Ministry's compensation for LPG under recoveries of oil marketing companies. Sources say fuel retailers expect fiscal support in the union budget. The government blames the migration of data systems for overstating gold imports by 131 tons between July and November of 2024. The migration is still not complete due to some technical glitches. TCS management says discretionary spending picking up in banking and retail the day after the IT giant reported a stable Q3. 2025 will be a better year, says TCS CEO K. Krithivasan. Israeli forces intensify raids in West Bank even as the assault on Gaza continues. 490 Palestinians have been killed in the first 9 days of 2025, according to Gaza officials. Overall death toll has crossed 46,000. At least 10 people dead as wildfires continue to rage around Los Angeles for day 4. More than 1.5 lakh people have been forced to flee their homes, with the cost of the destruction estimated at around $150 billion. Well, we'll come to all of that in just a bit, but first up, the market action of the day. The consolidation continues on Dalal Street as major indices decline for the third consecutive session. The Nifty and the sensex both closing the week with losses of about 2%, hitting their lowest level that we've seen in nearly a month. Mid-caps have seen sharper cuts, and the mid-cap index for this week also closed in the red. That's the sensex and the Nifty for you. The mid-cap index actually lost about 6% for this week. All sectoral indices, barring the IT index, closing in the red. The IT index was up by about 2%. We've seen earnings season kick off with TCS, and the numbers have been in line with expectations. Prashant standing by now to wrap up the market action for us. Prashant, it's been a week where the markets have seen lots of nervousness, uncertainty and loss. What does the next week look like?
Well, it was a poor trading session once again, and it kind of caps out a week which has been pretty tough overall. So instead of doing sort of the regular check in terms of what happened today, let me just give you a snapshot view of what happened during the course of the week and where markets now find themselves from the all-time highs. So it was a down week from the word go, except, of course, 1 day of bounce. The market really did not provide too much comfort at all. The Nifty intraday for today will come up on your screen off the lows, but still down. Bank Nifty, of course, is the weaker of the two indices. It's broken many more support levels. Mid-caps and small caps, though, were the real casualty. They're down between 1.5% to 2.5% in trade, up on your screen. How do these indices track up for the week? So the Nifty is down 2.5%. The Nifty Bank is down about 4.5%. You've got the mid-cap index, which is down 5.7% this week, and the small-cap index has lost 7%. So, as we came into the week, the conversation was that this wisdom that large caps will do better, mid-caps and small caps, perhaps it's time to rotate out of it. And many were lamenting that the trade has not worked. Well, guess what? Mid-caps and small caps have corrected, but it's not as if money is moved into large caps, so those stocks have started to perform at all. For the week, let me give you a flavor of what was down the most. So in the Nifty, Trent was down 10%, NTPC was down a little over 9%, Tata Steel was down 8%, Ultratech 7.5% cut, and ITC was down about 7.6% for the week as well. Mid-cap, small-cap damage. I mean, take a look at this. KEC down 20, Kalyan Jewelers down 19, Union Bank down 16%, Inox Wind down 15, Policy Bazaar was another one which was down about 15.5%, PCBL 15% cut, JSW Energy 15%, REC, Jubilant and Craver in the 14 and 15% range. I'm sort of not running you through the gainers list. It was a shorter list. And of course, the quantum was quite limited as well. Also, from the highs, the all-time highs, all four indices, the Nifty, Bank Nifty, mid-cap and small-cap indices are down roundabout roughly the same, about 10 to 11% from the all-time highs. I mean, just a few factors as we look ahead. It's, of course, US jobs data later today, which I think will be important, especially in the context of, reducing bets that Fed will cut rates. I mean, the pricing is about 2 rate cuts this year now. Remember, it's an important factor. Dollar is trading above 109. It's a pain point for emerging markets. Trump inauguration in 1 week, 20th. I think that's a big global event. And of course, you've got the union budget in 3 weeks from now. That is on the 1st of February. Back to you.
Prashant, many thanks. In the money market, the rupee continues to hit a record low against the dollar, and rising oil prices have weighed on the currency. The rupee is now just 3 paise away from the 86 mark against the greenback. So that is the currency market action for you. But on to the energy market. Oil prices continue to rise as icy conditions in parts of the US and Europe drove up fuel demand for heating supply. Disruptions due to tightening sanctions also pushed prices higher. Prices on track for a third straight week of gains. Brent crude is now hovering closer to the $80 mark. The Petroleum Ministry has sought 35,000 crore rupees for LPG under-recoveries of oil marketing companies. Sources have told CNBC-TV18 that the cash compensation sought can be done in tranches. Now, the big story. If you want a 90-hour week, start from the top. That's the word coming in from Rajiv Bajaj of Bajaj Auto. His comments came after a viral video showed L&T's chairman S.N. Subramaniam advising employees to work even on Sundays, sparking an uproar. Speaking to CNBC-TV18, Bajaj said that the quality of work is what matters and not the number of hours. In a post on social media, Harsh Goenka of RPG Group called the 90-hour work week a recipe for a burnout, adding that work-life balance isn't optional, it's essential. Actor Deepika Padukone said it's shocking to see people in such senior positions make such statements. First Global founder Devina Mehra said longer working hours are biased against women and will impact their participation in the workforce. Take a look.
In the pursuit of being competitive, we don't make arguments in a vacuum. It's always relative. So a company has to do what it needs to do to be competitive, and that unfortunately is dictated by the marketplace. But having said that, my point of view to start with would be simply this, that putting in enough work is obviously important, be it 70 or 90 hours or what have you. But at first, to be clear that the hours we are putting in, what is the quality, the efficiency and effectiveness of that? I think that is more critical than the sheer number of hours. For me, qualitatively, it is a more important issue than quantitatively. Let's walk the talk. Then let the 90 hours start from the top. And then if it proves to be fruitful or productive over, let's say, a period of 2, 3, 4 years, if we find that it works as a proof of concept, then let us talk about, implementing it down the line. It's a very big problem when, all the big talk happens at the top, but the implementation starts from the bottom. I think that is not fair.
Nobody is recommending a ruler. I don't think 90 hours a week can be mandated. If it is, you lose talent. But the truth is, जब deadline है तो है, जब काम है तो है, वो करना पड़ेगा. Now, nobody is saying and fundamentally 12.5 hours a day, 7 days a week is not sustainable beyond a week or two.
And I noticed that all the people who have recommended the 70 hours, 84 hours, 90 hours, I checked, all of them are married with 2 kids each. So this is very much a privileged gender saying this, that somebody else will take care of the home, somebody else will take care of the children, and I can work as long as I want.
The quality of work is not number of hours. It's not work-life balance. It's heart and mind balance. And if you have to appeal to the heart and minds of people to get the best work out of them, it's not because of number of hours. I'm sorry, it is completely incorrect. And if I am in advertising, yes, I can have weird hours. That doesn't mean that I work for 90 hours a week.
And more on that special discussion coming up at 9:30 p.m. right here on CNBC-TV18. Don't miss it. We've got some big voices there for you. Well, the big macro data of the day, India's industrial activity accelerated by 5.2% in November. This is the highest pace of growth in 6 months and much higher than the CNBC-TV18 estimate of 4.1%. Capital goods and infrastructure sectors led the move up. Now, the UN has projected that India's economy will grow at a rate of 6.6% in 2025. Private consumption, investment and export growth in services expected to bolster economic activity. The UN's report also projected that growth will rise to 6.8% in 2026. Remember, the government's first advance estimates project a growth rate of 6.4% in FY25. The government has blamed the migration of data systems for overstating gold imports by a massive 131 tons between July and November of 2024. The Commerce Ministry has also said that migration is still not complete due to some technical glitches. The ministry is still in the process of reconciling the data. Well, there's good news for domestic steel manufacturers. India's Steel Secretary Sandeep Pondrik says a decision on the safeguard duty framework can be expected within 3 weeks. Remember, the steel industry has been lobbying for measures to protect the domestic industry from low-cost Chinese imports. Take a look.
The DGTR has already issued a notice for getting responses from various stakeholders. The last date is 22nd of January. And then the DGTR will take, I think, 2 to 3 weeks to assess all the responses and make its recommendation. Based on that, government will take a decision.
Well, that's the Steel Secretary on safeguard duties. The Government Search and Selection Committee is set to meet in Delhi next week to finalise the new RBI Deputy Governor. Sources have told CNBC-TV18 that a large number of applications had come in by the 30th of November and the government has sifted through them. The search for a new Deputy Governor is in place of Michael Patra, whose term ends on the 15th of January. So this is going to be an important change at the Reserve Bank of India. The Supreme Court has ordered a stay on the show-cause notices worth 1.12 lakh crore rupees against online gaming companies. The Apex Court will hear the matter again on the 18th of March. Ashmit is standing by to take us through more on what transpired in court and what this means for online gaming companies. Ashmit, some relief.
Well, indeed, relief coming in, and at least the online gaming companies can rest assured that until a final decision is arrived at by the Apex Court, they needn't fear any coercive action, any recovery action, which in fact was the very concern that they had raised before the Apex Court. They had pointed out that this issue has been pending for a very long time. This case has been pending since 2023, and their concern was that as these notices near their date of recovery, there was a fear that perhaps the tax authorities could begin proceedings against these companies. That's a large figure. We're talking 1.12 lakh crore rupees, could go even north of 2 lakh crore rupees if the penalty component is added. That is spread across 71 companies. Now, these fears, when they were put across to the Apex Court, the Supreme Court saw reason in at least staying the proceedings as of now. The Supreme Court said that this matter, yes, needs to be decided, will be heard finally. But until this judgment finally comes, the Supreme Court said that no further proceedings shall take place under these show-cause notices. But the larger issue, of course, still remains. The larger issue being that in August of 2023, amendments were brought about to the GST Act, which allowed for a 28% GST levy on full face value of the entry amount. Can that amendment be applied retrospectively from 2017? That's what the tax authorities are arguing. That's the question that the Apex Court will deliberate on at the date of the next hearing, which is on March 18th.
Ashwin, many thanks, and all of those stocks were up and about today. Now, TCS's management says the company has seen some improvement around discretionary spending in the banking and retail space. This comes a day after the IT giant reported a stable set of numbers for Q3. Speaking to CNBC-TV18 MD and CEO K. Krithivasan said 2025 will be a better year and that the deal pipeline remains strong despite a marginally quarterly dip. TCS shares rose over 5% in trade today on the back of the management's commentary. Take a look.
Our current sentiment is more positive on CY25.
So do you think FY26 will be better than FY25?
It should be.
It should be. And client budgets have closed?
I won't say it's closed, but based on the initial conversation with our teams, at least the budgets have a positive upward bias.
Well, that's TCS. British telecom player Vodafone PLC has sold its remaining stake in Indus Towers, raising 2,800 crore rupees from that transaction. The telecom company said it's used 890 crore rupees to fully repay outstanding borrowings to the existing lenders that were secured against Vodafone Idea's assets. The rest of the amount has been issued to acquire 1.7 billion equity shares in Vodafone Idea via preferential allotment of shares. This will take Vodafone PLC's total shareholding in its Indian asset to 24.39%. Remember, the government is the largest shareholder in Vodafone Idea. Shares of Adani Wilmar down nearly 10% after an offer for sale by its promoter Adani Commodities kicked off. The company will sell 13.5% stake in Adani Wilmar with an option to sell another 6.5% stake in case of oversubscription. The floor price has been set at 275 rupees a piece. The OFS is being conducted to comply with the minimum shareholding norm. SEBI Chief Madhavi Puri Butcher said that the processing time of mutual fund and IPO applications has been cut significantly over the last few years. Speaking at an event, the SEBI chief said the regulator is looking at using artificial intelligence for faster processing of all IPO applications. She said there is a dependency on IPOs to raise capital and that SEBI is trying to boost the use of rights issues by fast-tracking the process.
This is from date of first application, and as you can see, there is hardly anything pending more than 3 months, which I am told globally is just amazing. When I attend the IOSCO meetings globally, they cannot believe that with the number of applications we get, we are able to turn around everything within 3 months.
Well, that's the SEBI chief. Blinkit has launched Bistro, its new 10-minute food delivery app, to rival Snack by Swiggy and Zepto Cafe. The app will provide canteen-type food as per the company. It will also operate outside the purview of Blinkit and Zomato. The service is currently live across a few locations in Gurugram. And speaking of Bistro, Zomato-owned Blinkit CEO Albinder Deensa has clarified that Zomato will never launch private brands on Zomato or compete with its restaurant partners. This comes after the National Restaurant Association of India threatened legal action against Zomato and Swiggy over the launch of private label food apps. Deensa said that Bistro is a standalone team and Zomato's data has not been used for Bistro. Well, quick commerce platform Zepto has shifted the domicile of its holding entity from Singapore to India as it gears up for an IPO by March or April this year. Kiran Cart Technologies, Zepto's Singapore-based parent, merged with its Indian entity. The company has said that the process was completed in 3 months, so that's going to be one of the big IPOs to watch out for in 2025. Hyundai Motor Group has partnered with tech giant NVIDIA to develop advanced AI-driven technologies for smart mobility and manufacturing. The technology aims to help the car maker enhance capabilities in autonomous vehicles and manufacturing efficiency. The partnership will leverage NVIDIA's accelerated computing, generative AI, and digital twin technologies. Royal Enfield showcasing its electric motorcycle, the Flying Flea, at the Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas. The company's partnered with Qualcomm to power its EV with advanced connectivity using the Snapdragon chip and cloud services.
We design, build and manufacturing everything in-house in Chennai, so this is very important. But then we decided to partner with some top companies because this is a software-defined vehicle, and so we wanted to work with the best ones in the market. So Qualcomm immediately came to our mind, and basically we are working in redefining the interaction between the motorcycle and the rider. So Qualcomm chip is helping us to basically enhance this kind of experience.
Well, that's Royal Enfield. Mirror, mirror on the wall, tell me how healthy I am after all. With Things, a France-based company, claims to have the answer. They've unveiled a futuristic health tech concept called Omnia at the Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas. This AI-enabled smart mirror can measure your vital health stats, provide real-time feedback, and send your reports to the doctor as well. Shivani Garat gets us a sneak peek.
Now behind me is a smart mirror that gives you health update that you can install in your drawing room, in your bedroom, or even in your bathroom. Withings, this company is at CES with yet another futuristic health tech concept called Omnia. It's a smart mirror that can measure and display your health metrics, offer feedback from an AI voice assistant, and then potentially set you up for a telehealth consultation with a doctor. In a nutshell, what Omnia does is that it has a base that can measure your weight, health, heart health, also metabolic health. It can also pull in data collected from other trackers. Let's say, for example, a smart ring or a smart watch or a blood pressure monitor, or even let's say something like a smart bed. Withing says that the built-in AI voice assistant will offer real-time feedback and could potentially give motivational pep talk or guidance whenever you need. For example, if you are put on weight, it will tell you that, probably it's time for you to work out. If you are stressed out, not sleeping well, then it will give you guidance to sleep better. And in case if there is any health issue at all, it will send your report to your doctor for review.
Well, a smart mirror that tells you how healthy you potentially are. Up next on India Business Hour, wildfires continue to rage across Los Angeles for day 4. That and more when we return. You can catch all of CNBC-TV18's news and updates on Facebook, X, Threads, Instagram and JioCinema. Israeli forces have killed 22 Palestinians in Gaza in the last 24 hours, taking the total death toll to about 46,000. Reports say that forces have killed an estimated 490 Palestinians in the first 9 days of 2025. The military has also attacked a home in West Bank surrounding the area with military reinforcements, including a bulldozer. From one war-torn region to another, Russian forces have killed 4 people in Ukraine after attacking 2 towns in the country. Ukraine has claimed that Russia has launched more than 51,000 guided aerial bombs against Ukraine since the start of its full-blown invasion. Nearly 3 years ago, Ukrainian President Zelensky said meetings with Western allies in Germany had resulted in pledges of an additional $2 billion in military aid. Meanwhile, incoming US President Donald Trump has said a meeting was being set up between him and Russian President Vladimir Putin. However, he did not set a timeline. At least 10 have been killed in the wildfires burning in Los Angeles. 5 fires burned for day 3 as dry desert winds fanned the flames, gathering strength. Over 10,000 structures have been destroyed, including the homes of Hollywood celebrities.
The home of Hollywood couple Leighton Meester and Adam Brody went up in flames, while Paris Hilton watched her Malibu beach mansion burn down on live TV. Alongside actor Billy Crystal, they were among the many to lose their homes to the raging Los Angeles wildfires. The blazes, which turned deadly after beginning on Tuesday, have destroyed over 1,000 buildings across the region and have forced over 100,000 people to evacuate, including a number of celebrities. The largest fire consumed nearly 12,000 acres in Pacific Palisades, an upscale neighborhood near Malibu, home to many stars. Nobody Wants This actor Brody and Gossip Girl star Meester have had their reportedly $6.5 million home there reduced to rubble. Pacific Palisades resident Oliver Alnat returned to the area, only to find both his current and childhood home gone.
Had just come from my family home where my mother lives. That was burned to a crisp, so that was the initial shock value. And then I came up to my home and same thing, it's completely dust.
On Wednesday evening, a fire erupted in the Hollywood Hills and quickly doubled in size. Forcing further evacuations, it stretched firefighting resources and water supplies to the limit. Even before this latest blaze, the out-of-control wildfires were some of the most destructive in Los Angeles history.
Well, the wildfires continue there in LA. Now, Earth has recorded its hottest ever year in 2024, according to data shared by the Copernicus Climate Change Service. The last year saw the planet surpass the long-term warming limit of 1.5 degrees Celsius called for by the 2015 Paris Climate Pact. Atmospheric concentration of carbon dioxide and methane also reached new highs. This surge in temperature has identified concerns over the accelerating threat of climate change.
2024 was exceptionally warm. It was the warmest year on record by about 1/10 of a degree C, which followed 2023, which was also the warmest year on record by, about 0.15 degrees C. So we're seeing 2 very strong records back to back. And 2024 was also the first year above 1.5 degrees in the majority of surface temperature records.
And dense fog gripped Delhi and several parts of the Delhi NCR region. Over 100 flights have been delayed and 3 have been cancelled due to zero visibility. The capital's air quality index was recorded over 400 this morning, dropping to the severe category, so restrictions back in place. And with that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of India Business Hour. We leave you with a sneak peek into our next episode of Young Turks Reloaded with Book My Show's co-founder Ashish Hemrajani. Take a look, and thanks very much for watching.
Thank you so much. And your son's sailing, I believe. Yeah. So, talk about all the lessons and all of that. Are we on the cusp of a breakout moment for the experience economy in India?
It's like the analogy from Formula One. So the car that's in front of you is cutting through and creating the slipstream and using more power and energy.
Yeah.
And the guy who's behind you is using 25% less. And he can press the DRS and get ahead of you.
Yes.
We live in 4 Indias. We live in the London of India, which is about 5 million people. And then there's about 50 to 60 million Indians, which I call the United Kingdom of India. Then there's 400 million Indians, which I call the Brazil of India. And then you've got about 300 to 350 million Indians, which I call the Africa of India.
Let's address the issue that you've been dealing with in the last few months on account of what's happened with Coldplay. You've got investigative agencies, you've got the EOW, you've got the GST authorities.
I've got a clean conscience. My karma is good. I sleep well.